Something happened tonight that has me genuinely excited about where this team is heading, because this wasn't just another preseason game. There was a moment out there that made me stop and think, wait a minute, could the Rams actually have something special developing right in front of us? And I know it's preseason. I know we have to be careful. One game doesn't make a career, and I'm not here to crown anybody after one night. But when you see certain things from a young player under the lights, especially at a position this important, you can't help but start thinking about what this could mean for the future of this franchise. And honestly, Rams fans have been waiting for a reason to get excited about what comes next. Tonight may have given us exactly that. But there's a lot more to this story than just the final score. And once you see what happened, you're going to understand why Rams fans are suddenly talking about the future a little differently. Before we get into it, if you're a real Rams fan, hit that like button for me. I'm Jake, this is Rams House Daily, and we're still building this channel from the ground up. Our first goal is 700 subscribers, so if you truly believe the Rams can make a run and eventually bring another Super Bowl home, hit subscribe and come be part of this Rams family from the beginning. Let's build this thing together. Rams fans, let's get into it. Because after that 22-12 preseason win over the Kansas City Chiefs, there is one storyline that absolutely stands above everything else, and that is Tai Simpson. The Rams selected Simpson 13th overall in the first round of the 2026 NFL Draft. And after tonight, I think a lot more people understand why Los Angeles was willing to make that investment. Simpson finished his NFL preseason debut 21 of 25 passing for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns, with 0 interceptions. That is an 84% completion rate. And look, I know exactly what some people are going to say. It's preseason. The defensive schemes aren't always as complicated. Starters aren't necessarily playing a full game, and coaches are evaluating players just as much as they're trying to win. All of that is true. But you still have to play the position. You still have to make the throws. You still have to process what's happening in front of you. And for a rookie quarterback making his first appearance under NFL lights, Tai Simpson looked incredibly comfortable. That's what caught my attention. Stetson Bennett IV started the game and played 2 series, completing 4 of 6 passes for 38 yards. One of those drives ended with a 26-yard field goal from Harrison Mevis, who finished 3-for-3 on field goal attempts after rookie tight end Max Clare couldn't hold on to a ball in the end zone through contact. Then Simpson entered on the final play of the first quarter. And from there, you could feel the offense start to find another rhythm. The first completion was actually a play-action pass involving Max Clare for an 8-yard gain, and that was Simpson's first unofficial completed pass in the NFL. But it wasn't just about getting that first completion out of the way. As the game went on, Simpson started showing the things the Rams clearly liked when they made him the 13th overall pick. In the second quarter, he rolled out to the right after the snap and delivered consecutive double-digit yardage completions to tight end Mark Redmond for 23 yards and wide receiver Tyler Scott for 13. And that's where you start seeing the poise. He wasn't rushing, he wasn't looking overwhelmed. He was moving, keeping his eyes downfield and delivering the football accurately. And then, in the fourth quarter, we got perhaps the biggest moment of the night. Simpson absorbed pressure, stayed composed, and found undrafted rookie running back Dean Connors for a 9-yard screen pass and touchdown. Think about that for a second. A rookie quarterback, an undrafted rookie running back, their first professional touchdown connection, and Simpson wasn't finished. Later in the game, he led an 8-play, 87-yard drive and finished it by finding Connors again, this time for a 2-yard touchdown. That put the Rams ahead 22-9 at the time, and it was a huge moment in what was already an impressive debut. The final score ended up being 22-12, with Los Angeles holding Kansas City to 4 field goals. So yes, the offense deserves the attention, but the defense deserves credit too. Defensive line coach Giff Smith called the defensive plays in the first half, while outside linebackers coach Joe Caniglio handled the play calling in the second half. And they kept the Chiefs from finding the end zone. We also saw familiar names make plays. Defensive lineman Desjuan Johnson chased down Chiefs quarterback Garrett Nussmeier for a sack that resulted in a 13-yard loss. An undrafted rookie safety Nick Anderson had an outstanding day, leading the team with 9 tackles while also recording 2 pass deflections and a tackle for loss. That kind of performance matters when you're talking about players fighting for roster spots. But let's come back to Tai Simpson, because this is where the bigger picture gets really interesting. The Rams didn't draft Simpson 13th overall because they needed somebody to immediately replace Matthew Stafford. They drafted him because they were thinking about what comes next. Matthew Stafford is still the starter, and as long as Stafford is capable of playing at a high level, Los Angeles has every reason to keep competing right now. That's especially important because the Rams aren't behaving like a team that's rebuilding. The acquisition of Myles Garrett made that very clear. Los Angeles wants to win now. They want to compete for championships now. But at the same time, they had to think about the future. And that's where Simpson becomes such an interesting piece. Eventually, Matthew Stafford is going to retire. That's simply the reality of the NFL. And when that day comes, the Rams don't want to suddenly be starting from zero at quarterback. They want somebody who has already spent years inside the organization, learning the offense, learning the league, learning how to prepare, and learning from one of the most experienced quarterbacks of his generation. That's the value of Tai Simpson right now. He doesn't have to save the Rams. He doesn't have to become the face of the franchise tomorrow. He doesn't even need to start this season. What the Rams need from him is development. They need him to sit behind Stafford, learn from Stafford, absorb the offense, improve every single week, and eventually be ready when his opportunity comes. And tonight, he gave the organization a pretty encouraging first glimpse. Rams quarterbacks coach Dave Ragone spoke about Simpson during the CBS television broadcast and pointed to the experience Simpson had playing in the SEC. Ragone essentially highlighted that the speed of the game wasn't completely foreign to Simpson, and he emphasized how the Rams teach their quarterbacks to play the position by leading with their eyes and their feet. And honestly, you could see that tonight. There were moments where Simpson looked like he understood where he wanted to go with the football before the play even developed. That's not something you can simply manufacture. Now, I'm still going to pump the brakes a little bit. Because one preseason game does not tell us whether Tai Simpson is going to become a franchise quarterback. It just doesn't. The regular season will bring tougher defensive looks. Defenses will become more complicated. The throwing windows will get smaller. The pressure will increase. And eventually, teams are going to have film on Simpson and start adjusting to what he does well. That's when we really learn what this kid is made of. But for a first appearance, you couldn't have asked for much more. And while we're talking about the rookies, Max Clare deserves some attention too. The Rams' second-round pick finished with 7 receptions for 37 yards. He may have a difficult path to being active on game days during the regular season because of the depth the Rams already have at tight end. But tonight showed exactly why General Manager Les Snead wanted to bring in a 6'4" tight end like Clare. And then there was 4th-round running back Jarquez Hunter, who finished with 35 rushing yards on 9 carries. So this wasn't just a Tai Simpson story. There were several young players getting their first real opportunity to show the coaching staff what they could do. Unfortunately, there was also an injury that Rams fans need to watch closely. 3rd-round draft pick Keegan Trost was ruled out after suffering a hamstring injury following 2 drives at Arrowhead Stadium. Trost had actually talked earlier in the week about being excited to go up against the Chiefs, and according to CBS LA sideline reporter Darren Haynes, he was visibly frustrated on the sideline after the injury. That's tough to see, especially for a rookie who is trying to establish himself. Trost played right tackle to start the game and has spent time at both tackle positions during training camp. After he left, Blake Hance took over at right tackle starting in the second quarter. Hance played 4 games for the Tennessee Titans last season, and now the Rams may need him to provide some valuable depth. And this injury is important because the offensive line situation already has some questions around it. Starting left tackle Alaric Jackson could potentially be facing a suspension. Backup tackle David Quessenberry brings plenty of experience, but he's also an older player. And Justin Dedick remains out after an offseason hand injury. So Keegan Trost was expected to be an important depth piece for this roster. Hopefully the hamstring issue isn't serious, but it's definitely something Rams fans will be watching. There were also several players who didn't play tonight. Ronnie Rivers, Kanata Mumfield, Jordan Whittington, Josiah Stewart, Tyler Davis, and Josh Wallace were inactive. And honestly, their absence could actually be a positive sign when it comes to their chances of making the final 53-man roster. Sean McVay has a history of resting players he already views as potential starters or important backups during the preseason. So sometimes not seeing a player on the field tells you something too. And then there was Xavier Smith, who gave the Rams a huge 40-yard punt return and had first-year special teams coordinator Bubba Ventron visibly fired up on the sideline. Those are the kinds of little moments that can change the competition for a roster spot. But let's be honest, Rams fans are leaving this game talking about one player, Tai Simpson. Because the biggest question isn't whether he was perfect. He wasn't. The biggest question is whether we saw something tonight that could eventually become the foundation of the Rams' next era at quarterback. And I think that's what makes this so exciting. The Rams were able to get a first-round quarterback without completely sacrificing their current championship window. Remember, Los Angeles had originally held the 29th overall pick, but traded that selection for cornerback Trent McDuffie, adding an established talent to the secondary. That move helped give the Rams more flexibility heading into the draft, and then they used the 13th overall pick on Simpson. At the time, that selection was definitely polarizing. There were questions. There were people wondering if taking a quarterback that early was the right move when the Rams were trying to compete right now. But that's why tonight matters. Not because Simpson has already proven everything. He hasn't. It matters because we got the first tiny glimpse of the plan actually working. Matthew Stafford can lead this team now. Myles Garrett represents the Rams' commitment to winning now. And Tai Simpson represents the possibility that when the Stafford era eventually ends, Los Angeles won't have to tear everything down and start over. That's a pretty powerful combination. And if Simpson continues developing behind Stafford, this could eventually look like one of those decisions that makes more and more sense every year. Tonight was only the beginning, but it was a really good beginning. And Rams fans, we don't have to pretend this kid is already the next superstar. We can enjoy what we saw while still demanding more. That's the balance. Be excited, be optimistic, but keep watching, because the next test is coming. The Rams will host the New Orleans Saints on August 22nd, and just a few days before that game, they'll meet the Saints for a joint practice. That's going to give Simpson another opportunity to see different defensive looks and continue getting comfortable with the speed and physicality of the NFL. And that's where I'm really interested to see what happens next. Does he keep completing passes at this kind of rate? Does he continue making smart decisions? Can he handle more complicated defenses? Can he keep his composure when the pressure gets heavier? Those are the questions that matter now. But tonight, Tai Simpson gave Rams fans something we desperately wanted from a first-round quarterback, a reason to believe, and maybe that's the biggest takeaway from this entire game. The Rams aren't just trying to win today. They're trying to build a team that can keep winning after today's stars are gone. Matthew Stafford gives this team a chance to chase another championship right now. Tai Simpson could eventually give them a chance to keep that championship window open later. And after going 21 for 25 with 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions in his first preseason appearance, I think it's completely fair for Rams fans to be excited about what we just saw. Not crowning him, not calling him a guaranteed franchise quarterback, just excited. Because after tonight, the future suddenly feels a little more interesting. And that's exactly what you want to feel after your team drafts a quarterback 13th overall. So Rams fans, I want to know what you think. Did Tai Simpson show you enough tonight to make you believe the Rams may have found Matthew Stafford's eventual successor? Or are you still taking the wait-and-see approach because, at the end of the day, it's only preseason? Let me know in the comments, because I genuinely want to hear where the Rams Mafia stands on this one. And if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button for me. Rams House Daily is still a new channel, and we're trying to build this community one Rams fan at a time. Our first goal is 700 subscribers, so if you really believe in this team, if you believe the Rams can compete for another Super Bowl, and you want to be here for this entire journey, hit that subscribe button. Not because you have to, do it because you're a Rams fan, because you believe in this team, and because you want to be part of this community from the beginning. We've got a long season ahead of us, Rams fans. There are going to be incredible moments, frustrating moments, injuries, surprises, big wins, tough losses, and hopefully, by the end of it, a whole lot of reasons to believe. But tonight gave us one more reason to be excited. Tai Simpson has officially taken his first step. Now let's see where this journey takes him. Go Rams!